Hello and welcome to our session on upgrading your version of Bit. So firstly, why would you want to keep upgraded to recent versions of Bit? Well, it's really because over the last 6 to 9 months, I'm talking at the end of year 2023, we've been working massively to make Bit more performant and add a whole raft of features that improve how you use Bit, improve the DevX with Bit, and also improve how Bit can help your organization both create and manage your components and component libraries. But you won't be able to make use of those features and improvements, and also the improvements that we're working on now and we will be working on in the coming months and years, without upgrading your version of Bit, and also without upgrading a version of things like your environments that you're using. So that's what we're going to do in the next 5 to 10 minutes. By the end of this session, hopefully you would have a fully upgraded Bit workspace and environment, and you'll get full use of all of those features. Okay, so the first thing you need to upgrade is BVM itself. BVM is Bit Version Manager. If you have an older version of BVM, I highly recommend upgrading to the latest version 1.0. If you have a version less than 0.2.0, you won't be able to install latest versions of Bit at all. So you may be hitting certain kind of blocks by saying, I'm running BVM install, I'm still getting old versions. It's because your version of BVM itself is old. So run npm i-g at teambit./bvm. This will upgrade your version of BVM itself. Once that's upgraded, you run bvm install to download the latest stable version of Bit. Now, you may have at the moment something like this inside your workspace that standardizes which versions of Bit your team and organization are going to be using. This can be great, but if you, once you're upgrading a Bit now, you're going to have to upgrade this as well. 1.3.0, I would say. I highly recommend putting it in one of the more recent stable versions of Bit, so that everyone in your team is using a version of Bit that is recent and will make use of all of the features that Bit adds. By the way, at the end of this session, we're going to see a feature that is only available with the new versions of Bit and with the new versions of Bit environments. That is pretty cool. Okay. We have an upgraded version of Bit. We made sure that any engine setting inside the workspace JSON is appropriate to that. Now we need to upgrade a few things inside our workspace and inside the workspace JSON and inside the workspace to make sure that everything is up to date now with the new version of Bit. The first thing we're going to look at is the variant section inside your workspace JSON. Now, a while ago we stopped recommending setting environments via variants. We've added a very rich CLI for supporting environment changes and updates. And we recommend setting environments via that, because setting environments via variants, especially star variants, can cause instabilities and unexpected results. So, as in, some members of teams might not get the right expected environment, for instance. Environment variable, it's just environment. Environment because of some variants that are deep inside your workspace JSON. So highly recommend removing any of these. Let's run bitdev just to see which environments our components have. We'll see that some of them have React, some of them have Harmony aspect. We're going to remove this, and any environments we need to set, we'll just set via the CLI. Okay, so there are 3 components using teambit.react and 1 component using teambit.harmony aspect. If I need to, now that I've deleted that, the one using teambit.harmony aspect will lose its environment. Why? Because it's a new component, there's no version here. The ones with versions, their environment is stored as part of the version, so they still remember what their environment is, but this one does not. So we'll have to set any new components via bitdev set. Bitdev set, you copy the component name, and then add whichever environment you want to add. You'll see in a second which environment you want to add for certain things. Teambit.harmony node is also an old version of an env. So now we're going to run through upgrading versions of environments. Now, below this video, you're going to have a mapping of old environments to new environments. This is the old React environment. We want to replace that environment for all components using the environment. And happily, there is a lovely bit command for doing just that. Bitdev replace. It will select all components using the first environment and will instead apply the second environment to all those components. So we'll replace the environment for all of those components. So now we can see those 3 have got a new environment. We run bitdev, and we will see that quickly. It has to import the new environment. and we'll see that they get that new environment. Now, while that's loading, we'll see in the bitmap file, how does this kind of translate itself inside the bit. The config is currently stored inside the bitmap file. The second you tag a new or snap a new version of these components, that config inside the bitmap file will go away. It will already be stored inside that version of the component, and you won't need the component inside the bitmap. This is helpful for things like if you want to pull request these changes. You want to create a pull request, other people in the team can see these changes, and then they can comment on the fact that this is changed to this version or this type of environment, and then that can go through a pull request as well. And once it's gone through the pull request, then you tag it, and it gets subsumed inside the version entity itself. Okay, so we have this been updated. Look at the table below this video for the mapping for teambit.harmony node, and you'll see what version, what environment to set for that. Okay, now that we've set our environments, we're going to add some configurations inside of workspace.JSON that are required in order to make use of some of the cool new features we've implemented, and also the performance improvements that we've implemented. So these are 2 lines you'll need to add to the workspace section of the workspace.JSON. Again, they're also in the comments below, so just copy paste them from there, put them in the workspace section. In the dependency resolver section, we're going to add one more line as well, the root components true. Now, this will help us manage dependencies inside the workspace much better, will help Bit manager much better. Once we have those 3, there's a big difference now to how Bit's going to manage your node modules and your package installation. So we're going to have to delete node modules and delete our lock file. This is a one-time thing just to upgrade from a different version of Bit. And we'll also delete the local scope. The local scope is where Bit stores all the information locally of your components. Now, you don't have to understand how that works. Bit manages it for you. Bit will automatically restore it after we run this command. And what this will do is make sure that there's no dissonance between how Bit used to manage it in the older version that you currently had, or previously had, and the new versions of Bit that you're going to upgrade to now. If you had a version before, version 00, 800 or 900, that's a gap of something like 300 or 400 versions of Bit. So especially before Bit moved to version 1.0, there could have been breaking changes into how Bit managed the local scope. So now we'll get rid of any after effects of that by just deleting the local scope. I highly recommend also looking into the new bit extension. The bit extension is here telling me I have outdated objects. It's coming from over here. You can see it's all red. Look at that in another video a bit. Once I've done that, you'll see there's an error come up just because we now deleted all of the information Bit has about the components in the bitmap file. So we'll just have to run one command, bit import, to get all of that information back from the server, or usually from the local cache. Okay, so now importing the 3 latest on main, getting the information, and now it's all imported. This has not been edited, this video, this is just how quick it is. Okay, now we have our local scope has been refreshed. Well, now we need to refresh our node modules. So let's just run bit install. By the way, after setting an environment inside your workspace for the first time, it's the first time you're using that specific environment, you have to run bit install. I highly recommend, after running any bitdev command, just run bit install after that to make sure that everything is managed and installed correctly in the right folders and the right places. Again, I'm not going to shorten this video or kind of cut and paste everything. I just want to show exactly how quick it is and how everything is working in the kind of real speed. And once we've done this, that's basically it. That's what we've finished all the upgrades, and you should be up and running with Bit. Now, if you have custom environments, the environment mapping that we did above was for using Bit's core environments. What I recommend is there's another video of how to upgrade your older custom environments to newer custom environments. And that should take you about 20 to 25 minutes probably. In total, maximum could take you 3 minutes depending on what configurations you have customized inside your environment. I would firstly now just run that bitdev replace command to just upgrade to the newest core environment of your tech stack. So for instance, if you're using React, then upgrade to the react-env environment, and then in the next from your current custom environment, and then using the other video that you'll see inside our videos portal, you'll upgrade your env, and then you'll set your new custom environment to your environment, your components, and then you'll be up and running with the new custom environment. Okay, so the last thing I just want to run through quickly, we have the last like 20 seconds. This over here, this setting inside the workspace, we can now uncomment that. What this does is it synchronizes between your IDE knowledge of tooling and your environment knowledge of tooling. So for instance, I have a component here, it's a React component. Now my IDE doesn't know, I need to tell it not to know anymore, doesn't know, because I've done this before. My IDE doesn't know this is a React component. All it knows is it's just some JavaScript or TypeScript files, and there's no tsconfig anywhere that it knows how to tell it how to kind of pass this component. Now in your IDE you may get errors, but your environment for the component understands it's a React component. So how do you get the IDE experience with Bit? So this is how you get it with Bit, with this workspace.jsonc configuration. You don't have to have this. This will mean that Bit will automatically update the, if you update your environments and your environment configs, the workspace will automatically get updated. But if you run bitws config write, Bit will now write configuration files inside your IDE based on the environments of the components inside the workspace, and it will put different environments and different configurations in places in order for all the various, if you have components with different environments, all those components will still get inside the IDE the same experience of their specific environment inside your IDE. So your IDE will know that the Angular components have their tsconfigs or their configurations, and your React components have their configurations, and it's all inside the same IDE and giving you the Bit experience with the IDE. It's a very cool feature. I highly recommend using it right now, but again, it will only work with the new versions of Bit and specifically the newer versions of the environments. And that's it. Thank you for listening.